Acropora, what can I say? Some people love them and some people hate them. I'll try to help you out as best as I can in this video and share some of my experiences. To start off with, Acropora requires stability more than anything, especially your alkalinity. You also want to keep your calcium and magnesium in range. And when you first get your Acropora frags, try to match the parameters and the lighting that they're in if you can. If you got a buddy or a vendor that you're getting them from, go ahead and ask them what their tank parameters are and what their power is at their lights. If you can match that in your tank, go ahead and put it in the same spot, the same power, the same flow, and the same tank parameters. If not, I suggest putting them down on a lower spot. And they may turn green or brown out. Don't worry, that's okay. Just worry about keeping them alive, and then you can gradually increase your power and flow, and that'll cause them to color up. If you're thinking about getting Acropora for the first time, this is the Acropora I suggest starting off with. This is the Green Valley Slimer, and this is a pretty hardy Acropora. And this will tolerate a wider range of tank parameters compared to other Acropora. This is one of the original frags for the 75-gallon SBS tank. I started about 4.5 years ago, and I have about 10 frags. This is one of the 4 that made it, so that'll give you an idea how hardy it actually is. And the reason why they call this a Slimer Acropora is because when you frag it or break off a piece, it'll slime up quite a bit. And it's kind of difficult to actually glue it down to a frag plug after it does that. A common issue that I find is that people ask what tank parameters and what lighting especially that their Acropora should be in. And a lot of people say, oh, you need to have a minimum of 200 par. You know, you really should have like 500-600 par. Well, that's not necessarily true. Everybody's tank is different, and your flow may be different than the other person's flow that's suggesting that to you. So I suggest starting off with the lower par, and it will not kill the Acropora. It may cause it to discolor a little bit, but if you stick an Acropora in high par, and that's not where it came from, or if you have lower flow with high par, you could kill the Acropora. First, it'll bleach out, or it could STN, or it could RTN, which is slow tissue necrosis or rapid tissue necrosis. So you want to make sure that you go nice and steady with the Acropora if it's your first go around with them, and take your time with them. So as I mentioned previously, my suggestion to you is if it's your first time with Acropora, start off in a lower light and a higher flow, and they may discolor, they may turn green, or they may turn brown, or a different color completely, and that's okay. As long as the polyps are out on the coral and it seems happy in the flow that it's in, it'll be okay. And it may take a few months for that Acropora to get back up to the color it was when you got it, or better, but just take your time and have patience with it. So the tank parameters that I like to keep for Acropora is alkalinity at 8.5 DKH, around there. It can go down to 8.2 or 8.7. Calcium I like to keep around 450, and my magnesium I like to keep around 1375. And those are the ranges for my tanks. That's where I'm comfortable keeping them. Your tanks may vary, but just try to find a spot that makes your coral happy and stick with it, and don't try to deviate those parameters. Next, I'd like to talk about pests on Acropora, such as acro-eating flatworms or red bugs. If you can, remove, if it's just on a frag, go ahead and remove that frag and re-dip it in some dip and then put it back into the tank. But if it's something like acro-eating flatworms, you may have to re-dip it in a week or so if there's any eggs on it. But say it's a colony, the best thing you can do is just, if you have a wrasse, blow off those red bugs or acro-eating flatworms and let your wrasse eat them. That's about the only thing you can do. They do sell products such as flatworm exit. I'm not familiar with it. I haven't used it. I haven't had that problem personally, but those are the things I suggest doing if you have pest issues with your Acropora. Another thing that another pest that I noticed, if you get say like Indo imports, sometimes you'll get a crab in it that is kind of a pink color and it looks real bright. Those ones are usually the symbiotic crabs that live in an Acropora. So those guys are good guys, and you can leave them alone. If you're dipping your acro mini colony and you see one of those crabs in there, you can go ahead and take it out and put it in a little container of tank water, just so you don't kill it with a dip. But the other kind of crabs that are bad for your Acropora because they'll eat them are gorilla crabs. Those ones are kind of easy to spot. They typically have blue eyes. They look like they're furry. They got like a black fur to them. And they also have black claws. So if you see any little crabs like that and you're noticing that your Acropora's got like these white, chew marks or white marks on them, look for gorilla crab. And if you see one, it's up to you to decide what to do with it. But I would suggest at least taking it out, see if you can rehome it or put it in its own little tank. But yeah, they're not reef safe. So one common ailment that I talked about previously is STN, or slow tissue necrosis. Here's a picture of a coral that has gone through that. A lot of times it's too late for the coral, and it won't make it, but sometimes you do get lucky. If it's a frag and it's coming from the bottom up equally on both sides, you can cut above the dead spot, good 1/8 inch or so if you have enough room, and remount the frag and put it in a different spot, lower light, higher flow, and see how it does. I'm about 50-50 on that. But historically, when it gets to that point, it's kind of hard to tell if it's going to make it or not. I have found, though, that if it does the STN on a whole half of the coral, not just from the bottom up, but like a whole half, that coral probably won't make it, because that's tough to cut around and save healthy tissue when it's actually half of the stick vertically. So unfortunately, at that point, all you can do is you could try moving it to a lower light flow. Sometimes they pull out of it on their own, but a lot of times they don't. Well, I hope I haven't discouraged you from trying Acropora if you haven't tried them before. But like I said, just start with the easier Acropora and you'll have a lot better success. Hey Reefers, if you would do me a favor, please hit that like and subscribe button if you'd like to see more of these videos. That'll let YouTube know that you enjoyed it and they'll want to share it more with others. Well, that'll do it for this video. I'm Reefer Matt. Thank you for watching and happy reefing.